Welcome to the latest episode of Five on the Floor on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app on Apple Podcasts, on Android, Spotify, or the Five Reasons YouTube channel. Recommend streaming us on Spotify on either platform lately, just a little bit quicker getting out to the feed. Also, check out Off the Floor. That's our Discord server, $2.99 per month. Link right here in the description. Access to 10 different channels. It goes all day long. The place for the most heat, information, conversation, consternation, celebration. We'll have negotiation. We have everything there. Everything that happens with the Heat is going to be there. It's become our little community. Get off of Twitter. Check out Off the Floor. And now, today's episode.
Mercy, luxurious, Heat Nation, yeah, Mercy and Lago, down to Biscayne, yay, five on the floor, ride for my dogs, where here's the thing, you can check the score, hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frauds, down to Biscayne. Kept the floor playing, got it all band. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, it's power, have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to Five on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the Five Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Welcome back to Five on the Floor. Here's today's floor plan. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick at Five Reasons Sports. I got Alex Toledo. You can follow him at Tropical Blanket. So we're going to be talking, in addition to the NBA Finals, and make sure you check out the preview that I did with Brady Hawk on that. That one's been up on the feed for a couple of days. Also, an episode with Brian Fonseca about the international coach that the Heat may or may not have interest in. And also, of course, the episode that I did with Kevin, not with Kevin Durant. If I did an episode with Kevin Durant, it would have gotten a lot more downloads. But Brian Gelsiler was great, talking about why he thinks the Heat are the favorite for Kevin Durant. That does not seem to be the common evaluation of most of the national media. But we're going to talk about Durant again in another episode. Alex has just left me, so I believe he's coming back. In this episode, though, we're going to talk about one of the league changes that's happening, and there's going to be a series of league changes, and we'll get into how they affect the Heat one way or the other. I'm expecting some changes to the lottery based on some things that I've heard. I think they're going to be fairly significant. But the change we want to talk about today is actually the All-Star game, because it could affect two of the Heat's current players. And I want to get into that a little bit because just occurred to me as we're looking at the change that the NBA is making. Adam Silver announced that the All-Star game is now going to be USA versus the world. By the way, I'm in favor of this. I've said for more than a decade they should do this. Once it was clear that there were more players coming in from either overseas or Canada or wherever that were impacting the NBA. The past couple of years, most of the MVP candidates have actually been foreign-born. Although last year, and this is what I want to get into with Alex here, last year, this past season, only 6 of the 24 All-Stars were born outside the United States. And if this is the way that they're going to do this now, then that impacts two of the Heat's players who've been All-Stars in recent years, Tyler Herro this past season and Bam Adebayo in several previous seasons. Because if you just extrapolate from what happened this year, Alex, there were 18 Americans picked, 6 from other teams. They're going to go 12-12 this time. And so that's going to make it harder for these guys to get in. First thing, do you like the change?
That's kind of where I'm at. It's just like, yeah, it's cool in theory, but then, like, as you're saying, once you start thinking it through and trying to plan it out logistically, it's like, wait a second, there's a big difference in the ratio here. Like, for as much, like you mentioned, like so many of the, there hasn't been an American MVP in how many years and all that type of thing, and everybody loves to point out how all the foreign people are taking over the country and all of that type of stuff. Like that whole narrative of all these international players are taking over American basketball. As you mentioned, the overwhelming majority are still American All-Stars, right? So I'm not sure how they're gonna pull this off. Like, I have a lot of questions. Like, what are they gonna do in order to make this work? Are there gonna be guys making the team? Like, I just don't understand how they're going to balance this. Like, do you?
Yeah, they haven't announced it yet. So. Well, I like it only because I don't like all the alternatives at this point. And the reason is that Brian Windhorst has thrown out there that they just need to give these guys a lot of money to get them to play hard. And I just don't think that's enough. I don't think there's any amount of money you can give them to play hard because most of the guys who are going to be all-stars are already making a lot of money. So that whole suggestion I've never really bought into. The thing they did this past year was ridiculous. I still don't understand what it was. They split it into 3 teams. They include the G League All-Stars. It was just silly. I mean, it was just basically a showcase for inside the NBA, I guess, and what was going to be their last year at Turner before they move over. But if you look at the teams as they had them, just to sort of refresh on this, okay, they had 4 different teams. And it looked kind of fixed anyway by the way that they split it up with the Global Stars thing, which I'll get to in a second. Shaq's OGs, Jaylen Brown, I guess he's an OG. He's won a Finals MVP. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, Steph Curry, James Harden, LeBron James, and Jason Tatum. Okay. And Shaq coached this team. I have no idea who won. I stopped watching this halfway through. Kenny's young stars: Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, Darius Garland, Jaren Jackson, Jalen Williams, and Tyler Herro. And then Chuck for Barkley, Chuck's global stars: Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, Alperen Sengun, Pascal Siakam, Karl-Anthony Towns, Victor Wembanyama, Trae Young, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, of those, this is where all the quote-unquote foreign players were. Cat's got Puerto Rican heritage. That's not foreign.
Dominican.
Oh, Dominican. I'm sorry. That is. Why did I think Puerto Rican? I'm glad you corrected me. Cat's. Enough people have been wrong about Cat in the past couple of days, so I should be right. Okay, so it's actually 7 then. Okay, it's 7. I apologize. Okay, Shea's Canadian, right? They're born in Canada. Siakam, Wembanyama, Giannis, Jokic, Sengun, and Cat. So I should say it's actually 7 out of 24. All right. Now, assuming that those 7 may be on again, or at least assuming that Shea will be on again, Wembanyama will be on again, provided he's healthy. Giannis, Jokic, probably Siakam, Sengun, and Cat. Right. So then you got to find 5 others to fill out that team. And so let's just top of the head here. Jamal Murray, Lauri Markkanen.
Oh, Embiid.
Finally going to make an All-Star game. Embiid, if he's healthy.
Yeah, he'll make it next year if he plays. I mean, if he's healthy, of course. But Sabonis? Did you say Sabonis?
Yeah, he didn't make it this year. He did the previous year, but I guess you would include him, right? Probably.
Franz Wagner.
Franz Wagner is a good one. Paolo was born in the States, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So are we running out of names here? Is
Gobert.
this hold on? I mean, are we running out of names? Are we seriously? I mean, Pella Larson. Does Pella have a good shot? Pella Larson now has a better shot to make the team than Tyler Herro does.
Jovic does.
Jovic, Gobert.
Yeah.
Right. All-Star Gobert. We're going through this. We really prepped for this one. This one kind of came out of nowhere for us. So wait. Let's take a look. I mean, you don't have Dirk's not there anymore. Nash isn't there anymore. Gasol's not there anymore. Ginobili's not there anymore. So it does feel like this narrative of the world players being such a deep pool is really not true anymore. It just happens to be a lot of the guys who've risen to the top, correct?
That's what it seems like. There's plenty of international players, but yeah, it feels like how do you do this logistically? Like you're trying to. So it's like, are you going to end up picking somebody just because they're an international player and you're trying to fill a quota? And is that how are they going to do this? That's what I'm confused about. Is like how?
Well, I'm looking at this
first over their All-Star case.
Well, it seems like it. It seems like they're going to give you a pool of players. So you're looking at this on World Population Review. I don't know how I found this on Google. I just Googled it. NBA players born outside the United States. This is according to last season. I don't know how they recorded this. Okay, 57 players from Canada, 40 from France, 30 from Serbia, 30 from Australia. Ben Simmons going to make an all-star team. 3 from New Zealand, 29 from Nigeria, 12 from Senegal, 18 from Brazil, 15 from Argentina.
We forgot Jamal Murray.
I did say Jamal Murray.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
How about this? How about this? Does Andrew Wiggins have a better chance to make an all-star team now than Bam or Tyler?
This is the fact that you're asking that question should illustrate why this might be problematic. Like we're talking about Wiggins and Jovic having a better case now than maybe Tyler or Bam.
Than Tyler Bam do, right? Like, okay, so let's go through the American players that made the team this year, right? On one of the teams, and this is a mess at how they did this. I'll go through it again because I guess it would be 17 players born in the States. Jaylen Brown, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James. Some of these are automatics. Damon Lillard's going to miss all of next season. Tatum's going to miss all of next season. Anthony Davis, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, and Darius Garland, Jaren Jackson Jr., Evan Mobley, Jalen Williams, Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, and Tyler. Like, I have a hard time seeing, like, Tyler got into the very back end of the, when and the way they did this year was stupid too, because they split it into East and West and then split the teams up afterwards, which if you're going to split the teams up afterwards into 3 different teams of 8, why even do the East-West thing? Why not just create a total pool, right?
Isn't it just so, like, it's gotten to the point where whatever new idea that they try every year now or every other year is met with skepticism, because it's like until you figure something out, we're not going to believe you. We're not going to believe that this is what you're sticking to.
Alex,
like, it always feels like a hot mess.
We were right to greet last year's idea with skepticism. What was that?
I mean, it's the same. Like, it's kind of the same thing with the dunk contest. It's like they've brought down the quality of the product, because even though, like, I appreciate that they're trying to make it better, right? Like, in a vacuum is cool. The fact that they're trying to make it better. The problem is the execution, and I feel like it's just kind of they're cheapening it.
But is it the same argument?
Entertainment weekend, but like it's kind of
the same
down.
argument. It's the same argument though. It's dancing around the fact that a lot of these guys just don't want to participate. Like, they don't want to participate in the All-Star game as a game, and they don't want to participate in the slam dunk. So it's like trying all these gimmicks to get around the fact that they won't take it seriously. You can't get the best dunkers. I said the dunk contest should have gone away 15 years ago. Okay, and I was at Vince's dunk contest in 2000, and I've enjoyed a lot of them, but not recently. Like, there's been like 2 or 3 good ones. They've all involved Levine.
At least with the dunk contest, like you can get a good dunk contest in theory without like a bunch of superstars. Like, there's plenty of like crazy athletes in the league. Except at this
how many times are we gonna watch Mac McClung win this thing? Like, seriously, he's not even in the league.
The thing. It's like it's better in theory than in reality, because there's only so many different types of dunks you can come up with. But then the All-Star game is like a different subject, because it's like you want these guys to give it their all, or at least like a quarter or 2 of giving it their all. But it's very much become like this thing where they've got these 3 days full of like, their schedule is packed with a bunch of sponsored appearances, and this whole thing is like, it's this commercial entertainment event that doesn't feel like real basketball. So you know what I mean? It's like all these guys are prioritizing making it to the playoffs, like getting through the marathon of a season. The fact that, like, it's been so long now that guys are, prioritizing their health and trying to get through the season, right? Like, we've seen regular season games, and the whole topic about like guys sitting games out and all of that. Like, doesn't it kind of track that they're not going to take the All-Star game seriously? Like, I just don't think they've found the right way to make it worth their while. It's like, why would we try our ass off?
But that's my point. Injury? There isn't a way, but that's why I was like, okay, at least USA versus the world. There's something to play. You don't want to be embarrassed. Like, that's the thing. And I that's the only thing that's going to get these guys going, is not being embarrassed. Like, representing America, I guess. I mean, it works in the Olympics, right? So maybe it'll work for one day. But I was a little surprised at how weak the world list is once you get past like 10. There's not as I mean you have guys like we're gonna have one of the Bogdanoviches on the team. Like how deep are we going into this? Like I don't know that this is the golden age of international players because yes, you can say SGA, you can say obviously Jokic, etc. The guys at the very top, but when you had Parker and Ginobili and Dirk and Powell, and I'm not sure this is at that level. Over in terms of being spread out, okay, through so many different guys.
Oh,
It doesn't feel like it. But that's
does
the NBA.
does
The
the
NBA would beg to differ.
do Zubac, RJ Barrett, or Hardenstein change your change your
Well,
outlook?
Zubac probably would have been an all-star this year
Zubac
based
is
on
the one
this.
is like the one with a little bit of a case there.
Yeah, yeah.
But he really
So
just
that's
had his like best season in the league and still didn't make it. So again, I
well, he
just don't
didn't
know
make
how
it,
they
but
pull this off.
he didn't make it because again it was spread out over 24 players east and west. But he would have made it last year in terms of this. I want to
Yeah.
ask you something. They haven't decided on something, but on the other side, I want to ask you about. I'm going to throw. You're going to say it's a tough question because I did not prepare you for this. But anyway, we'll get to it in a second. We do want to mention Prize Picks. This is actually more important than anything else we're doing ever. We're giving away promo funds, okay, but we're having a contest. So for the length of the NBA Finals, Alex, myself, Brady, and Greg have been given $100 in funds to work with. We can use it any way that we want. Okay, we can blow 100 on one card, which is what Alex is going to do with 6 players together and try to make the big score and make us all chase him. Or you can do what I do and you can play 20 different cards at $5 each. With two players each. So you can do it either way, okay? Or any way you want. Me, Greg, Alex, and Brady. All right. And what we're doing is we're going to post this again on Twitter because we didn't have great reaction to this, but hopefully now that I mentioned it here, we will. And you got to choose your fighter, basically. All right. And you can choose Alex, you can choose me, you can choose Greg, or what 99% of you are going to do. You choose Brady. All right. So you can do this, and then if you are, but I would recommend not everybody do that because you're going to be in a. If he wins this thing, you're going to be in a pool with everybody else, and we're going to pick one winner randomly from who chose us. Okay, from who chose the winner, and we're going to give that person promo funds. Okay, so here's the key: you got to be subbed with a code 5. All right, and we know how to check. So you got to be subbed with a code 5. You put down your 5. They're going to give you $50 anyway, and we're giving you a chance to win additional promo funds. So go to PrizePicks.com, the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. Use the code FIVE. Put down 5. You get 50 to play right away, and then you can basically. You don't have to tail us. You do not have to do what we say. You just have to have belief in one of us. So if you can find belief in any of the 4 of us, then you'll have a chance to win this thing. All right. I want to ask you because I'm hearing there's going to be major changes to the lottery. I don't know exactly the changes. I will acknowledge that. I poked around a little bit, but I know that the NBA is trying to handle 2 different things. I know that Adam Silver came out and said he didn't have a problem with Dallas winning the lottery because they were trying to win. I guess trading Luka's trying to win. But and then we know everything fell apart at the end of the season. Then of course they're going to end up with Cooper Flag. They're trying to handle 2 different things here, which is one is you don't want to incentivize losing too much. So you can't just have it where the worst teams get the best possible odds and all the way through and don't give other teams a chance in there because then you're going to have teams tanking from the 3rd game of the season instead of the 30th. Yeah, but the other thing you don't want is a team that's pretty decent getting the number 1 overall pick because of just the lottery ball. Which in your view is more important?
Honestly, I mean, it's a cop-out answer, but I just think they've got to find a sort of balance because I don't think what took place this year is ideal. It's one thing if it happens like every once in a while, right? But then at the same time, like, look, man, I'm not trying to like go do like tinfoil conspiracy theory talk, but it's not a good look when Adam Silver is over here like doing this when everybody already has like this narrative. Like nobody wants to hear that. I'm sorry. Like Adam Silver is trying to speak to like the legitimacy of the process. And I know that there's like a bunch of reporters that are in there watching it as it goes down and they have spoken to it. Like, I get it. I'm just saying nobody wants to hear that, especially when not only was the Mavericks with their 1.7% chance getting the number 1 pick like a ridiculous thing, but the lesser known, or not lesser known, but lesser talked about part of it is the Spurs getting insane lottery luck 3 years in a row. Right. And we don't have to get into the whole history of stuff, but it's like, this cannot be the deal where it's like you're making it or not you're making it, but it's coming out in this way where it's like, oh man, the NBA has got an agenda. People are questioning the integrity of your league. Like, it's just not
Right.
where it needs to be. Now, you can go and argue the other side where it's like, well, there's going to be people saying that regardless. They're going to push that for whoever gets number one. That's, surprising, right? Like, what's the point of flattening the odds if we're going to overreact when a team outside of the top 3 or top 4 gets it? I get it. But there has to be a middle ground. Like, you don't want to reward teams for losing on purpose, but at the same time, it can't just be 3 injured playoff teams, getting the 3 best talents in a draft that, college people have been hyping up for the past couple of years as this insanely stacked draft at the top. Like, I just think, even though it's easier said than done, it might be a cop-out answer. They've got to find some sort of balance there.
I'm with you. I think they have to figure out look, I know Pat spoke at his press conference at the end of the year about something Andy had suggested. I don't think that's exactly what Andy suggested, the way that Pat put it out there. But I also think when you take a look at where they have to go with this, they have to figure out a way, again, not to allow the 11th or 12th best team to get the number 1 pick. Like, I think that should be out of the question. But at the same time, it's going to be crazy if they unweight the odds for the top 4 in a way that is going to allow that top team, the worst team, such tilted odds to get the first pick. I honestly would make it just about a certain segment of teams that even have a chance to get the first pick, like between 6 and 8 at the most. I do think that there is something to the idea of having those teams, the worst teams, compete after competing to lose the whole year, compete to win in some kind of mini tournament towards the end of the season. Like,
tournament is crazy.
But I love the idea. I think you could sell it. But the only issue is, and I've always thought of it this way, and why I don't think it would work, is the players on those teams might not want to win those games, because then you're essentially greasing the wheels for the drafting of your replacement.
Yeah, it's complicated.
So I just don't know if that's the ideal way to go. But I'll just say, I do know that the Heat have made some suggestions, and I'm curious to see how those play out. And I am expecting significant change there. That's all I'll say. I've heard this from 3 different people. It's going to be significant change. They know they have a problem, and I think it's both problems. It's the idea that you can't keep having this thing where, like, some team that should not have gotten in the mix there is getting the number 1 overall pick. And like you said, everybody is like, conspiracy. And at the same time, you also can't have these teams like Charlotte and Washington. Well, Washington tried towards the end of the year, but some of these teams that just don't try at all, you can't have that either. So we'll see how it plays out. I know that Heat fans, their picks protected now next year. Obviously, well, they keep their pick next year.
Like it's cool that good organizations can get rewarded sometimes, like in transition years, right? But like the Spurs, everybody knows how great of an organization they are. Like, that's awesome. That's great. But at the same time, it's like they got Victor, Steph Castle, and now are going to get Dylan Harper and potentially have a chance at Giannis because of it, because of how much they've moved up in 3 straight drafts. Like, there's got to be some sort of middle ground here. Like, the Spurs have been gifted, whether or not it's a conspiracy theory, have been gifted, not because of, they're such a great organization.
Three generational players. Yeah, 3 generational players. And it's basically been San Antonio, Orlando, and Cleveland. Which, by the way, if you were thinking that the NBA was like doing this intentionally, you wouldn't necessarily pick those 3 franchises. But Orlando, they got the one with Shaq, they got the one with the Weber that turned into Penny. They got, you look at Cleveland, they got LeBron, they got the Wiggins that turned into Love. You look at San Antonio, the ones that they got.
You forgot Cleveland, the fact that they got 3 number 1 picks in 4 years.
Anthony Bennett.
Andrew Wiggins turned into Kevin Love, turned into a championship.
Right. Well, Anthony Bennett turned into one of the worst picks of all time. So you still need to have a competent front office. We'll see how it plays out, but I just wanted to tip that off a little bit. But there are going to be significant changes there. And as far as All-Star, I guess it's going to be Miami Heat All-Star Andrew Wiggins. And that'll be his second All-Star game, by the way, if he's still with the Miami Heat. All right, we'll have more serious episodes to come, just something we wanted to comment on here. Also, check out the episode I did with Alex Baumgartner. Some comparisons between which are our Panther writers, some comparisons between what the Panthers are doing now or trying to do, which is avoid
on the 2014 Spurs as good as Connor McDavid is right now.
No. No.
I don't like the
No,
sound of that.
but they handled McDavid last year, and that's what I'm saying. If you look at the Panthers, and we're recording this right before they're going to play tonight in Game 1 in Edmonton, and I'll be at Games 3 and 4 and 6 if there is a 6 down here. So we'll have a lot of Panthers coverage on the network, myself and Alex Baumgartner. But we talked about the difference between the two. Well, the comparison between the 2013-14 series against the Spurs from the Heat, where of course 14 didn't go quite as well, and then also what the Panthers are trying to do, which is keep the Oilers from being the Spurs essentially and getting their revenge. But no, there's no Connor McDavid. I mean, none of them, not Duncan, not even Kawhi at that stage is Connor McDavid. I mean, Connor McDavid is basically LeBron at this stage. But last year he was kind of LeBron in 2011 finals. He was good, but he's a little better than LeBron was in that, but he wasn't great. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, thanks everybody again. Getting the PrizePicks contest. Alex and I, again, you're gonna put it all down on one, aren't you? You're gonna do it. You're just gonna splurge on one.
The all demon parlay.
That's it. You're just gonna try to make us go for broke, and I'm just gonna be doing my little $5 bets.
I'm gonna get us all new equipment with this.
Slow and steady. Oh, you sent me something. Slow and steady. That's what we're gonna do. All right. Make sure you sub to PrizePicks. Use the code FIVE. Okay, and choose one of us. Have a good one.